Good morning. My name is Bob Roth, and this is a short history of Freemasonry. This short survey is an introduction for you about the history of our order. It is a short introduction that we hope will whet your appetite to delve into the subject more deeply. There's much we simply do not know about the history of Freemasonry. And those gaps are often a place to study and for exploration. We will touch on a few theories, and we will focus on some of the generally accepted elements of our history. As with any organization that is hundreds of years old, more especially so-called secret societies such as ours, prior to 1717 or so, the history gets muddy. We have a lack of written documentation, and there is a great deal of anecdote out there. Fortunately, the meaning of anecdote is not at all the same as empirical data. What we do have is a scattering of early documents that we can draw upon to make some educated guesses. I will briefly explore these. There are two theories about our history, and as Masons, we hold them dear, although there is little documentary evidence for either. What I will present is a mix of tradition, and let's be honest, a hope that we are reasonably correct. One theory is that we are at least partially derived from the remnants of the poor knights of the Temple of Solomon. They were a chivalric, monastic, military order created as a military police force for the Christian kingdom set up in Jerusalem in 1118, when the First Crusade brought the city under Christian control. Their job was to protect Christian pilgrims on the road to Jerusalem. They became known to history as the Knights Templar. They grew, attained papal status as an order of monastic knights, flourished as bankers and as warriors, and they had secret rituals. The Knights Templar were banished from existence by papal order between Friday the 13th, 1307, and the burning at the stake of the last Grand Master of the order, Jacques de Molay, in 1314. The Knights Templar had great wealth, a large navy of merchant ships and warships, and castles and other properties all over Europe and the Middle East. But almost instantly, all of the Templar Knights and all their wealth vanished from the face of the earth. And very little of any records exist today to explain where they went. Many expositors about Freemasonry think they disappeared into the craft guilds of the Middle Ages throughout Europe and exiled themselves to Portugal or Scotland, where the Templar Knights were never persecuted. Many believe much of our core values and some of our ritual come from these knights. The more accepted theory, also grounded in the Middle Ages, is that the fraternal order we know now evolved from the operative guilds of Masons, who kept secrets of geometry and certain other mathematics so essential to the building of structures. This was especially the case for the great cathedrals being built during this time period. These operative Masons did this by use of ritual and allegory and signs. They kept secrets of their stonework and some related mathematical methods inviolate within their guilds. Manuscripts from as early as 1390 clearly show the creation of much of the ritual we use today. And a cursory review of the Regius poem and other documents kind of help us understand the evolution of the craft. One of the more important historical events involves the Lodge of Edinburgh. This lodge of Masons has the oldest set of minutes of any lodge, and it goes back to 1599. Now, it's interesting to note that this particular lodge began as a guild of regular craftsmen, that is, operative masons, building things, before accepting and opening up to speculative masons in about 1634. Perhaps this is one of the birthplaces of our modern craft. In about 1717, Masonic lodges as we know it go public. An early Masonic author named Anderson describes the establishment of the Grand Lodge of England by 4 old London lodges. It was created to establish all 4 lodges to allow themselves to be under a Grand Master and that they could hold regular joint meetings. In the writings, it was called Grand Lodge. Anderson's history infers that such meetings, or at least an annual assembly and feast, had on occasion been under the auspices of Sir Christopher Wren and other notables. But most that we can say about this, in fact, is that it is not well proven. However, a definite move was made at a preliminary meeting held June 24th, 1717, and this is when the Grand Lodge of England went public. Now, let us turn our attention to the development of colonial lodges and Freemasonry in America. Freemasonry, as we know it, was almost certainly fully developed by the time of the American Revolution in the late 18th century. And there were colonial lodges for both the French and British in North America and Canada. And lastly, there is a rich and deep history of Freemasonry and its influence on our republic's founding documents. The tenets of Freemasonry are infused into many of the founding documents here in the United States by Freemasons who were intimately involved in the creation of them. So now it becomes clear how operative Masons worked, kept secrets, and promoted their guild members. That is, the entered apprentice, the fellow craft, and the master mason. These 3 degrees were all metaphorically carried over into the realm of speculative Freemasonry. The ritual evolved, moving from guilds to lodges. The creation of the system of morality and the lessons about it was amazing work done by good men, really trying to find a catechism and in due course a way of life that would allow good men to become better. This brief history should give you just enough information to draw your interest and to make you better understand the historical development of our teachings. Placing yourself within the history of an ancient fraternity can bring great joy, and it comes with responsibility. Let us not break this chain of work done by our forebears, Freemasons all, going back hundreds of years, who have devoutly passed these teachings down to you.